Hey, my friend. It's so good to see you again here this week at Call Me CEO. I am Camille, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, whether you are running around, getting things done, doing dishes, laundry, or even out for a run. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today. And you are in for a real treat because we are speaking with my friend Natalie Monson, who is the CEO of Prepear and also runs the successful food blog Super Healthy Kids. Natalie is a registered dietitian and began her career working in the medical field with people suffering from chronic illness. She saw firsthand how nutrition and fitness can play a significant role in preventing disease and improve quality of life. She started working on Super Healthy Kids 10 years ago and has continued to grow it while raising her 4 kids. Natalie and her husband, Russ, co-founded Prepear 4 years ago as a platform for food bloggers to sell subscriptions to their content, including cookbooks, meal plans, and ad-free recipes. Consumers use Prepear to connect all the parts of their cooking life into a single app. From discovering, organizing their recipes to grocery shopping and cooking, they can do it all with Prepear's uniquely built features. Together, Natalie and Russ have grown their business to over 7 figures in revenue while building an incredible team and have learned how to be married and business partners along the way. Today, we are going to dive into what it took to create that kind of success, not only in her business, but in her family life as well. And I would love for you to join and continue the conversation, not only here on the podcast, but also on Instagram and Facebook. We have an amazing community, and please stay tuned as well for the solo shows to help you balance motherhood and business. Let's dive in. So you want to make an impact. You're thinking about starting a business, sharing your voice. How do women do it that handle motherhood, family, and still chase after those dreams? Well, listen each week as we dive into the stories of women who know. This is Call Me CEO. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Call Me CEO. I am your host, Camille Walker, and today I am joined with the lovely Natalie Monson, who is the creator of Super Healthy Kids and Prepear, which is an app service-based that helps you to take all of the recipes that you love and know on Pinterest and turn them into a grocery action plan that saves you time, money, and your sanity. Natalie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Camille. I'm super excited to chat with you.
Now, I have known you for quite some time, and I wish that we could spend more time together, but we just are like ships in the night of internet knowing, right? It's been years. We are like the OG bloggers. We've been there. You've been in for about 10. I've been there for about 9. And I want to hear more. Share with our audience, your family, a bit of your background, and diving into what got you started on Super Healthy Kids.
Yeah. So I actually grew up here in Utah. And one of the things that attracted my husband Russ and I to each other is that we both really loved Utah. And so we love to talk about all the things we love to do here. We're both outdoorsy people, and we love Southern Utah. We love the mountains. There's just a lot of things we love about Utah. And so Russ and I are married. We have 4 kids. My youngest is 4. My oldest is 12. And I actually have a background in nutrition. I got my degree in dietetics. So I am a registered dietitian, and I've just always been really interested in health and nutrition. And so once I started having kids, that's when I really started focusing more and being more interested on children's health. And so that's how I kind of got started with Super Healthy Kids, is just an interest in nutrition and health, and then also business as well. I have a business minor, and so I just love creating things and selling things, and I love that whole world. So
yeah. Well, that's an interesting combination. And you and I actually have a lot in common. Our kids' age ranges are the same. And also, I studied dietetics. I didn't get a business minor. I wish I would have, but I kind of look at the degree I did get, family consumer science. And had blogging existed as a degree when we were in school, it really, the degrees that we did prepped us for what we did in the future. Was that
Totally.
Something that you saw yourself doing, like creating a business online, or how did that happen for you to build Super Healthy Kids? And when did your husband start getting more involved?
Yeah. So when I was in college, actually, I started just a little side business selling stuff on eBay. just because I thought it was cool and fun. But I remember taking an entrepreneurship class in college, and I was like, that's cool. But I wasn't like super, super interested in just starting my own business from scratch. And so the way I got started, actually, I started with a business partner, and we started by creating a meal plan subscription. And that's kind of how I got involved and started that way. And then we created and developed a product line, and we had a blog, and so then so Russ started right away. He's a CPA. And so he started just kind of behind the scenes helping with some of the finance stuff, just because that can get complicated and intimidating and tricky. And so he has always been behind the scenes working with me that way, which has been really, really great. And Russ is actually a total entrepreneur at heart. And so he had a couple of side businesses at the time as well, like when we got married. And then as time went on and both our businesses started growing, he had a full-time job as a CPA, and then he really just wanted to work for himself. And so we kind of evaluated which direction he should go, if he should kind of take off with some of the side businesses he was growing, or if he should join mine. And mine just happened to be growing faster and bigger at the time. So he quit his full-time job and started working with me. It's been about 5 years now, I think. Yeah, about 5 years. And it's been awesome. It's been really, really good most of the time.
Okay, because I'm looking at your trajectory right now. You got out of the gate. You decided to do a subscription. You did a blog. Your Instagram following is very engaged and very large. It seems like you've had no mistakes. Like you are just on this trajectory of success. What would you say to that? Do you think that's true? Or would you say, no, let me tell you otherwise?
Oh, absolutely not. It's so interesting looking at people from the outside. And I think that's what social media does. You see the numbers, you see the likes, you see all of those things. And you're like, oh, they must be doing so well. Like you see people's best. And it is interesting being in this world for so long. You don't, unless you start developing like pretty intimate relationships with people, I don't think you get that side of the hard times, where you've created something and it's totally flopped, the rejection. There's just so many things, right? Like we've been sued multiple times. We've had, so what interesting, like if you look at my Facebook and Instagram, they're my following's big. And we got big on Facebook years ago, and it was before Instagram even existed. And it was like looking back, a lot of it is just luck. Like Facebook really liked our content. And so they just started showing it to everyone. And we just were growing so fast. And I wouldn't say we had some edge that other people didn't. It just happened to be good timing and good content. And that's kind of one of my mantras in life is the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I honestly do believe there is a lot of luck involved in business, because you can have two people who are working just as hard. They both have good business ideas, and one just takes off and the other doesn't. But along with that, if you're not in the right place, if you haven't put the work in, it doesn't matter if luck comes your way, you'll miss the boat. And so it kind of, to me, the formula is a little bit of both. And so for a lot of things, we really did just get lucky. Like things took off, and we were trying to put out good content and work hard and do all the things you should. So, but along the way, there's been a ton of bumps and crashes and failures and tears and hard things. Definitely.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, I know it because I've lived that. If you're looking for more flexibility in your life, have you ever considered what it might be like to run a business of your own from home? That is why I have created VA in 90 Days, which is a program to help you learn how you can do virtual assistant work from home, setting your own schedules, finding your own clients, being your own boss, and doing things from home that help make another business owner's life that much easier. This program has everything you need from A to Z: how to set up your business, how to discover your marketable skills, and also how to set up clients that will love and rave about you while all setting your own schedule. Tune in to CamilleWalker.co to learn more about how you can set up your own virtual assistant business today. Would you think, I'm curious about so you started the blog 10 years ago. When was it at the point where you thought, man, this is a business? Or from the get-go, was that your intention? It sounds like maybe it was, because you created the subscription service right away, which is so progressive of you. Like, I feel like that's something that has become more popular recently, but you were like, no, I got this. Like, how did you come up with that idea?
So there was one of the original, in my opinion, meal plan subscriptions. It's called Deals to Meals. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yes, I do. I do.
So they've been around forever.
Yes.
And so we were looking at their business model, and we're like, okay, so when you have a digital business versus like a physical product, the more you scale, it doesn't also mean you have to scale all of your resources, like more employees, it does, but it's not like it's a lot less, right? Like you can scale your business a lot bigger with fewer resources.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot more opportunity for passive income, in my opinion, because if you're selling something, every time you sell it, you have to ship it and you have to get more of that product. But with a digital based subscription, that's not necessarily the case. And so that's kind of where the subscription idea came from, is just the model of scalability. And so it's interesting because looking back, we put together our subscription in just like 2 months from scratch. And then we launched it because we wanted to launch. We started it in I think maybe October, November. And then we wanted to launch by January 1st because it's a healthy meal plan subscription. And that's when people are into all the health stuff. And I remember the day we launched, it was New Year's Day, it was January 1st. And, you do something and you put it out there and you're like, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah,
and I just remember seeing subscriptions starting to roll in. And I was like, no way. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, it's working,
What was the price point for that subscription? What were they getting, and what was the price point? And have you changed it since then?
Oh my gosh. I literally don't even remember what we started at, to be honest with you.
And what year was this? What do you remember what year?
This was 2011, I think. 2011 or 2012. It was either 2011 or 2012. And we have changed our price point like a million times. I feel like that's something that it's like always in testing phase, and you have to change, right? Like if you don't change in the world of the internet, then you get left behind. And so we've changed our price point. We've changed our offering. I mean, we've created an entire technology platform, like 3 times. And now we've landed on where we're at with Prepear, but we've changed everything about it. So it looks very, very different. I mean, we were starting out with like Excel spreadsheets and creating PDFs and emailing them to people. That's like where we started. And now we have an app and a whole web-based program. So.
Wow, that's incredible. Was there a time, now you said you got really big on Facebook. Was that the overhead food video, or what do you think it was that really propelled you there? What was it that was the content that Facebook loved so much?
So we weren't even doing, video in the food world wasn't really a thing yet.
So we're talking because that was what, 2017 maybe? Or so we're talking before that.
Yeah.
I was saying with video. Don't you think video came out at like 2017 probably?
Yes. And we started growing on Facebook in like 2013.
All right.
So it was a long time ago. And so it was truly just recipe posts. That's what grew us. Like, I remember posting one of our, like we would post something and it would get so much traffic, our site would crash. every single
Wow.
time we posted anything on Facebook. It was crazy. Like
Oh
you don't
my
see that
gosh.
anymore. And
No,
just
you
getting
do
like
not. You have to pay
thousands of
lots of money.
new, yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we were getting thousands of new followers every day. And like, it was exciting. It was super exciting because you knew when you posted something, it was just going to explode. And I remember one of the first times something exploded, it was a pineapple Dole Whip popsicle recipe. And it just went nuts. And we were like, what the heck is happening?
Oh, that's
And
so
then it just kept
exciting.
going.
Now you're talking
So
in terms of we. Is that a partner? Is that in reference to a partner you had or you and your husband?
a partner. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I've worked in partnerships before and I actually started my blog with 7 women. And within the first 6 months, we went down to 4 because they're like, oh, we're not making any money. And this feels a lot like school. And this is not cool. And it wasn't until even like
That's a lot.
the second, third year that we even started to turn revenue. And then eventually it trickled down to just being me. And, what I've really found interesting is talking to other people who have had partnerships and what they learned going through the partnership, how they made it work. How did you eventually part ways? What did you learn from that partnership? And what is something that you could share with our listeners about having a partner?
So it was a really great experience, actually, for me. And the thing I tell people about having a partner is it's truly, if you're invested in growing a business, it's truly like a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You will talk to your partner as much as your spouse. You will go through hard things together. You have to figure out communication issues. So choose your partner wisely, right? And the thing is, you don't ever, even if you think you know someone and you vetted them out, you're not going to ever know all the things because you don't know what kind of situations you're going to come across. And there will be conflict for sure because you're 2 different people trying to create one thing with 2 different opinions, 2 different backgrounds, all these things. And one of my very favorite books is called Crucial Conversations.
Mm.
And I don't know if you've read it or not, but it basically teaches you how to have hard conversations with other people. And it's so important because when you start to work closely with someone or even if family members in your life, you need to have those hard conversations in order to maintain good relationships and also just progress. So, um, that would be my main thing is don't be afraid of having hard conversations, but learn how to do it the right way.
Yeah. No, in fact, it's funny you say that because that's actually something that if I could, this sounds really weird, but I've consulted quite a few women who have been in tricky situations with partnerships or negotiations or contracts and have
Mhm.
written emails and conversations and helped coach them through that. I feel like that's something that as a business person, you need those skills. And that's not necessarily something that people are teaching,
Right. Totally.
so yeah, that book is a really good reference. So I'm curious, at what time were you in that partnership and breakaways and did that translate into you developing your app or what was the steps to that? And just for the listeners who are listening, can you explain to them how the business of a blog works, how you're bringing in revenue, and then also how you transitioned into developing your app?
Sure. Yeah. So, um, okay. A typical blog, the majority of your revenue typically comes from ad revenue. And then a lot of people have affiliate revenue, sponsored post revenue, if you have a product. For us, we had three. So we had our blog, which we considered our content business. And so we made revenue in those ways I mentioned. And then we had a physical product that we sold. So we had that business. And then we also had our subscription business.
And what was the
And
physical product? I'm sorry.
it was children's dinnerware, children's eating wear that promoted healthy eating based on the Choose My Plate. So we had like plates and cups and bowls and
Oh, fun.
things like that to help teach kids balanced nutrition.
Smart.
Um, And so we had those 3 different businesses that all kind of like worked together.
Mhm.
Um, and they all were totaled a third of our revenue. They were each about a third, a third, a third. And so, as far as when my partner and I broke off, so it's I mean, my business was super healthy kids, and so it was aimed towards younger kids, younger parents, and she just was kind of outgrowing our audience. Her kids had grown up. She kind of wanted to move on to the next phase of her life. She wanted to go get a master's degree. Like, her goals and interests just kind of changed.
Mhm.
And because of where our business was and our audience, it wasn't like that could totally pivot in that way. And so we ended up separating in the end of 2018. And she actually took the physical product business, and then I took the other 2 businesses. And we had just started building the app. I think we started it in, I can't remember. It wasn't that for a long though. And so then that really is where our focus has been the last probably 2 to 3 years, is heavily focused on Prepair and our app and building that. So that's kind of how it all went down.
Building a successful business takes a clear understanding of your goals and where you want to go. That is why I love Cube Money. It is an app card combo that allows me to assign a purpose to each dollar in my checking account. No more wondering where you stand in regards to your bills, because with each transaction, you make a mental check-in with your balance. Create goals and stick with them in your lifestyle and business so you can live more and stress less. Go to cubemoney.com/Camille to get started today. That's Cube spelled Qube money.com today, and make those dreams a reality. I think sometimes we get really stuck with the idea that if I create a product or I create a business, I have to stick with this forever. And I think that that is faulty thinking. The idea that you have right now, or the product that you have as an idea right now, could be the launching point to help you discover your interests and develop your other priorities later. And I think that there's a lot of freedom in recognizing that, is that we don't have to have all of the steps in a line perfectly figured out. And so I think that that's
Right.
really cool that that worked out that way for you, that you were able to divide and conquer, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're totally right. I think it is easy to just get stuck on one thing and not realize you can rebrand, you can pivot, you can change things, you can, and I do think that's a ton of work,
Mhm.
but it's totally possible.
Now tell me about Prepair. This is such a brilliant app. I love that I need to utilize this more with my own blog. You're actually taking recipes you've created yourself, recipes from other bloggers and influencers, and plugging them into your app in a way that makes all of these recipes more accessible and usable by the app user. Tell me about the way that it works and how you were able to develop such an incredible app.
Yeah. So the reason we created it is because we had such good success with our own meal plan subscription. The biggest challenge was the technology piece of it.
Mhm.
We I can't remember what year it was. Sorry. When you've been doing this for so long, it's hard to remember like how long things have been. But um, our users really wanted better technology. And so we spent a ton of money creating um, almost like a software. So it was desktop only. Well, no, you could use it on mobile, but it wasn't an app. And people kept saying, "We want an app. We want an app. We want an app." But anyone who's created an app knows it's incredibly expensive. It's
Yeah.
incredibly expensive to maintain. It's complicated. And so what we decided is, okay, we believe in this so much. Um, we want to create technology so that other food bloggers can do what we have done as well, without having to spend the money and time and effort on the technology piece of it, because that's not what most food bloggers are interested in. And so basically we created Prepair. And so what it is it's just it's a platform for you to create a subscription business with your own content. And the reason it's great for your readers and your users is because they can consume your content and your recipes in a very usable way. So if you think about it, like if someone goes to a food blog, they read through your content and they use the recipe that way. But there's ads and there's all these things they can't directly, there's just a lot of things they can't do with a recipe that maybe they would want to. But from a food blogger's perspective, it's like, well, this is how I make money. So you have to serve ads. You can't get around that. Like it's not reasonable to create content for free. It's too much work, right?
Mm-hmm,
And
absolutely.
so we kind of mesh both those worlds. So the food blogger gets compensated for a user using their content without the ad piece of it. So it's a really good user experience, and the user really likes it because then they can put your recipes in their meal plan. They can save them to a cookbook. They can use it in an app. They can directly add it to their shopping list, and it's all in one place. And so it's just a really slick way to do recipes as a user. And it's a really great way for a food blogger to also make money on their recipes in a different way.
Yeah. Ooh, that I don't know why I haven't set mine up yet. So I'm curious about onboarding for those people who might be food bloggers listening. Is that something that you help with onboarding their recipes, or what's the process for that?
Yeah. So we have someone who their entire job is just to help you set up that part of your business on Prepear. So the onboarding, the getting your recipes on, the creating your subscription, to marketing content and graphics and all of that. Like we help you all every step of the way. And we have a whole system of how you market your content and different campaigns you can run. So we hold your hand the whole way. So
Wow.
that, I mean, we really want you to be successful.
That's
So
amazing. So I'm curious, with all of this that you have going on, you have the successful website, you have a successful product line, you have a successful app now, and you are a mom of four. What are some of your best tips for managing all of this? This is a huge business. How are you able to connect and create meaningful time with your family, your kids, and your spouse?
so this is interesting because I have really, the last couple years, I've really, really pivoted into a different, well, so I've always been very interested in business and growing, and that was my priority. And I love being a mom, but having small kids was really hard for me. It wasn't like something and I'm talking like little, like toddlers, that whole phase of life. I'm kind of starting to get out of it, but it was just hard for me. Like that's not my natural skill set. Um, it was hard. And so I think I used my business as a way to be able to manage my life so I could have, I could still have kids, but it wasn't all I was doing. And so I really put a ton of energy and focus in my business, and I loved that. And I was willing to give up some other things on the other side of being a mom. Like I had help for probably, I don't know, 6 years of that. I had a full-time nanny because I couldn't do it the way I wanted to without help. And so when you have help in that way, you miss out on things, right? And I was actually totally fine with that at the time. Because I don't think anyone can do it all. I really I don't think it's healthy. I think if you're trying to do it all, you're dropping balls.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last couple years, I've actually kind of moved more into the role of I'm really enjoying being a mom. So I don't have a nanny, which means I do less on my business. And so it's not going to grow as fast. And I can't do all the things that maybe I'd want to for my business because I'm focusing more on spending time with my kids and doing the mom thing. And I've really started to enjoy that a lot. I love older kids and teenagers. So that that's kind of the choices I've made along the way.
Have you been thinking about trying to discover your why and maybe defining your purpose a little more clearly? Well, I created a free 5-day email sequence that helps you do just that. It helps you dive into who you are, what your special talents are, and even pushes you a little bit out of your comfort zone with asking questions of people that are close to you. So go to callmeceopodcast.com to access that. And I have a little sneak peek of something up and coming about how to become a virtual assistant. So if that is something that you would think you might want to do in the future, stay tuned, get subscribed to the newsletter so you can hear about all the details, because we will have special discounts for those who are subscribed to our email list. You can go there and find more information at callmeceopodcast.com or camillewalker.co. I appreciate you being so vulnerable and honest, because I think I like how you said parenting or mothering a small infant or a toddler was not my skill set. It just wasn't exactly my favorite thing, which I think a lot of times women are shy away from even being honest with saying that out loud. And you know what I mean? Because it's like, especially in a conservative culture that we live in, there can be a lot of shame and guilt surrounded around the way that every mother should be, those quote marks of should be, because that doesn't make you a bad mom. I think the fact that you touched into that knowledge of knowing how you personally can be the best mom is creating those boundaries and creating space for you to feel filled up, so that when you were with your kids, you could give them the best you. And that looks different for everyone. And I think that
Totally.
That's such a good message for our listeners, because we don't talk about it like that all the time. Sometimes we feel like it has to be all or nothing. And I'm a huge believer that it does not. And I love how you talked about how that changed for you too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think you're totally right. I think it is a little bit taboo to say, I didn't really love being a mom of little kids, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, where I lived at the time, like, I was the only mom who was working full time, and I missed out on things. Like, I didn't go to the museums and the parks all the time with the other moms and the kids. And I was actually fine with that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's okay, because that's not what's bringing me joy. And I'm trying to do this other thing in the world that I think is also putting good into the world. And I've talked with other women about this. I think sometimes as women, we feel like we have to fit in this box, but I think it's so important that women feel like they can do what they actually want to do based on their skill set. And I think about, like, what if we didn't have women who wanted to be surgeons or doctors or lawyers or all these different jobs? But also, what if we didn't have women who didn't want to work and just wanted to raise their kids? Like, I think it's so important to have both.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it is just respecting each other's skill sets and desires and not pressuring each other to be one way or the other. Like, I'm so grateful for women who choose to do both of those things and everything in between.
Yeah. I got chills as you said that. I am like, yes, because for me, I have been able to stay at home with my kids and build my business while I've been blogging. However, I didn't push it as far or at the lengths that you did. And at the time that was okay for me, but I
Totally.
also needed something where I had something to think about, but beyond the diapers and the feeding schedules, and just I got so bored of what women were talking about at the park, like talking about other people or talking about, I don't know. I wanted to talk about ideas and creation and development and learning. And so for me, before I started my business, I was out like shopping clearance racks because it was something to do, or looking for a community online where I'm like, okay, there's got to be more than this. And so I feel like there's so many more opportunities online now than there were before, which is why I am
Yes.
building a virtual assistant course where moms can stay at home and become their own boss and build their own schedule. Because thank goodness we have had so many women and men pave the way to create online opportunities. And really they are now just for your taking, where you can push it or pull back as much as you want to. And there's so much beauty in that.
And I love that idea of having this thing that you can do while you're still raising kids at home, but not feeling the pressure to grow it into this massive business if you don't want. Because I have a friend, she has the most darling online business, and she is intentionally not growing it right now where she knows it could be growing faster, because she wants to still be able to give to her family and her kids. And I just respect that so much. Like I look back and I wonder if I should have done that more. You know what I'm saying? Because I just was like, grow, put everything into it. Like, and I spent a lot of years feeling really stressed out, trying to do more than I probably should have. And so, like I said, like, I just feel like something always gives. And whether it's like taking care of your kids or taking care of yourself, or like developing a relationship with your spouse, like whatever it is, something gives. And so I think it's good to know, like, you don't have to grow as fast as somebody else, or you can if you have that space and energy, but just really being true to where you want to be, I think is so important.
I agree. Oh my gosh. I just want to say amen. Like, yes, this is amazing. Now, just to close up here, if there was one bit of info or advice that you could give to someone who's listening and they're looking at what you've built and what you've done and the incredible person that you are, and my goodness, you are an amazing mom. So don't think for 1 second. I watch what you
You're
do
so
behind the scenes and
nice.
you're amazing. I think your kids are really lucky to have you. I think they're really lucky to see a self-aware woman who knows what she needs, because in doing that for ourselves as moms, we give our children permission to do the same.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you're saying, well, gosh, maybe I sacrificed things, and maybe you did, but it created a path where you are now, and you're living a beautiful, happy life. And that is something that if you're in that balance and check and you're learning from that along the way, I think you're winning. So if there's something that you could give a piece of advice.
You're so nice. You're going to like make me cry.
It's true.
Okay. So the best advice I could give, and this is hard because it's always hard to like sum up 1,000 thoughts into something short, but what I have learned over the years is to not worry so much about what is going on outside yourself, and make sure that if your intentions are good, then don't worry about what other people are doing, and just really try to stay true to what you want your life to look at, or what you want your life to look like, right? I think it's super easy to get caught in all of the daily grind and the details and all of that. But Stephen Covey, like one of his 7 habits that I think is so, so smart is begin with the end in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are thinking about starting a business or, progressing your life in some way, what do you want that to look like? And start there, because you'll make different decisions along the way if you always keep that in mind. Like, what do I actually want my life to look like? Not what does my friend's life look like, or my sister-in-law, or this person on Instagram. Like, they're not living your life. And so begin with the end in mind, and you'll make different decisions, and you'll always feel good about it.
Good advice. Oh my goodness. This has been such an incredible interview. I so appreciate you being on the show today. Please let our audience know where they can find you and support you and learn more about everything you have to offer.
Yeah. So probably the best place to follow me is on Instagram, just super healthy kids. And I don't talk a lot about business on that account. I don't know why, but it's more like healthy ways to raise your kids and being a healthy parent and my meal plan subscription. So follow me there on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you again. And stay tuned for more because you're going to hear about how you too can build a business yourself online. Thank you for joining today's episode. I hope that you found it helpful and inspiring. Natalie is truly one of the kindest people I have met in this business, and she means it. Everything that she said came from the heart. Please join our conversation over on Instagram at Call Me CEO Podcast or at camillewalker.co. And you can find us on our own Facebook community, the Call Me CEO community. Check in with me, say hi. I love it when you say hi. This community is meant to bring each other up and support each other as we chase after those dreams while enjoying and loving every step of being a mother.